So for kicks and giggles, I'm just keeping my vellum paper underneath clean for the moment. I do have a piece of smooth surface. Bristol board on top here. This is the vine charcoal. It is very loose. So it comes in a package like this usually, and it usually says vine. It's lighter, dustier. You can break it. It usually comes in long sticks. And so it lays down very, you can shade with the side of it like this, or you can do more like that. You can very easily smudge it. So it's really great for laying down like a base, like a gesture drawing or something. So if you do a gesture drawing and then you want to kind of, rub the paper to kind of, lighten it up a little bit and then go in with your compressed later. This is the compressed. It is a thicker, not quite as dusty, and not quite as easy to break. But you can, if you want to have some versatility on the page. So this is the compressed charcoal. It's a General's brand here. I'm sure you can find whichever brand works for you, but as long as it's the compressed, is going to be definitely the harder charcoal. So if you lay the compressed down, it will not smudge quite as easily. You can smudge it a little bit, but it's going to be a harder, darker line. So that's really good for like putting down final lines, things like that. So that, and you can blend it. Obviously you'll get your fingers very messy, so you don't want to get it on anything else. Let's see. So you can blend it with a blending stump if you want to. You can kind of blend that out. Let me do a little bit on the side here. So this, again, this is on the smooth surface right here. But so there's a little bit of that. If I use the blending stump, you can blend it out. You can go in circular motions. You can go along with the stroke of the line work. You can do that. And again, like I said, the vine charcoal is good for doing just, if you want to lay some gestures in, that kind of a thing. Have something that's more lighter, and then if you eventually end up bracing that out, so there's that. So that's on the smooth surface there. I was just kind of doing that I didn't want to dirty up the vellum, but I wanted to test it out on this real quick. But this is the smooth surface. Here is the vellum, and I got plenty of this, don't worry. So again, you can do large sweeping areas like this with the side of the vine. You can also do lines with the vine. So here's the vine, and that's what it looks like if you were to kind of rub the charcoal into the paper there. It does give a little bit of a texture there, so that can be kind of nice, just for the look of a charcoal piece. So if you were to do a drawing of something, so I'm just doing an eyeball or an eye for kicks and giggles. So you see how that really does kind of brush out really quickly, but it's good for if you want to lay down some basic stuff. And then if you were to go to take your compressed, which is going to be darker and it's going to last longer, so if you were to go in with those final lines and work with that, and you kind of figure out where your edges are, where you're drawing with, you can go in with the compressed. So I'm kind of drawing in my lines there. I am adding a little bit of extra shading there, just for whatevs. So these are a little more final line marks here, a bit darker. So I'm just going to set that aside there. And then you can go in and if you want to blend it with a stump, or if you want to go and blend it with your fingers, you can do so. So that's fun. And you can see that those lines are kind of standing. And you can still blend out from there, which is really nice. So you can still get a little bit of that. And you can combine the two, which is perfectly fine. Just gonna blend that out a little bit. You can get some really nice smoothing there. You get a really nice little gradient there. I'm just gonna kind of roughly blend this here. You can see I've got some definite darker lines there, which is nice. You can go back and kind of relay some things down, make it darker if you want to. Just kind of thickening that upper eye line. So there's that. Shouldn't do that. So I'm gonna get charcoal all over everything. That's okay. So you can go back and blend that. You can also just use a paper towel if you want to blend things. So that kind of can blend things out a little nicely if you want it to. Go back and darken that iris a bit more. Let's see. And then you can also use, why didn't I didn't grab a kneaded eraser off the top of my head, but you can use a kneaded eraser to get some of that charcoal up too. So I think So I've got a kneaded eraser here. It's one of these squishy ones. You can take that and you can pull back some of that, create some nice highlights there. So if you want to go back in and if you want to do an additional highlight here. All right. So, so yeah, that is charcoal. Go back into the blending thingy, do that. You can also get charcoal pencils. That's another thing. Let me see if I have one in here. Here is a, let's see. Yeah, it's just a regular graphite. Well, if I can't find it, that's alright, but you can get a charcoal pencil as well if you want to use one of those. Thought I had one in this bag. That's alright, just a miscellaneous bag there. But you can get pencils, but you can also use the side of your charcoal there. Create more of a fine line if you wanted to. You can also use sandpaper to shape the tip of your charcoal if you want to. So yeah, that's kind of you can put some reflections in there, things like that. So this is bugging me. Round that off a little bit. All right, so yeah, and this is on vellum. This is the slightly textured paper, so it'll kind of give you that textured look. This is, I guess, a little bit textured. This is the smooth surface here. I would probably use this more for inking and things like that, and brushwork. But this is a vellum, which gives it a nice little texture there. So yeah, so there's a little demo for you.